How's it
Yeah.
going, Deb? That's how we
Good.
started the podcast.
I know, right? That's how we started. We're so tired. Good. How's it going for you?
Good. I have no complaints.
Yeah.
That
Well,
being said, we are doing a pet peeves episode, so I got
good.
a few complaints, but not about my life right now. Life's good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same. School is going to be over this week, so I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to the school year ending. I'm done with school on Thursday. It's our
Okay.
last. So I got 2 more days.
Really? Oh man, so your little COVID stint really hit at a weird time.
Yeah, I came back and I only had like a week and a half left. It was weird.
Because isn't it? I mean, I know your schedule is a little bit different than like my wife and my sister, but I
Yeah.
know that everything for you seems a little bit earlier. Like I know your spring break seemed earlier, but I know I feel like every teacher talks about how spring break is like the one final, and then you go back under until summer. But you kind of, I mean, not that you were having fun, but you kind of got another little mini spring break, not one you wanted, but
With COVID, you mean?
yeah, with COVID, like a forced spring break.
Spring break alone to myself in my apartment. Yes.
Yeah, not one that was fun, but
Right.
um,
Right.
interesting. Yeah, that would definitely be a an unfortunate time. I mean, it's never a great time for a teacher to miss that much time, but especially towards the end of the year, you probably have finals and stuff like that coming up. I mean, it's a little different for you as a PE teacher, but still
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah. Well, and just this is the first school year that kids are back in like in person fully from like distance, So they're in, yeah. All I gotta say is I'm done. Everyone's done. We're ready. They're all
Yeah,
antsy. The last since I've been back from being sick from COVID, they've
yeah,
been so antsy. They're either stressed from finals or they're just like excited because like okay, school's almost out. I can go back to being at home or, not being here. So it's just,
yeah.
yeah, it's crazy.
I remember back when I was in maybe college, maybe it was my senior year of high school. I can't remember, but one teacher basically just laid it out for us. He's like, this time of the year is tough because obviously everybody's done, teachers are done, students are done. Especially here in Sacramento, the weather's warmer, the kids
Yeah.
get more flirty. There's like other issues that pop up, like just people get wild. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's an interesting way of looking at it. But yeah, a lot of things happen once the
Yeah.
spring hits, and it just makes life for the educators a little more difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So 2 more days. I keep telling
there you go.
myself we're almost
The
done.
the final push. And
Yeah.
then when are you actually on summer break though?
Well, Friday's the first day of summer break. We have a week off and then summer school starts. I don't know. I think I'm doing summer school.
Yeah.
It's like I've never waited this long to hear if my school is doing summer school for PE.
Hmm.
So anyway, so I'm just kind of waiting on that still. So,
Okay.
but Friday is the official start of summer.
So Friday, so it's not like a Friday work day or anything like that. That's just, oh,
Nope.
nice,
Yeah.
cool. That's
Mhm.
awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
good. Congratulations. You got this. 2 more days, and you
Two
can
more.
make it. Yeah. um, this was not. We actually had a guest scheduled for today, but for some reason there was a no show. Um, but that's okay though, because I just remembered, Deb.
Huh.
I saw something in your stories this
Uh-oh. Oh
weekend
God.
that I
I knew
thought.
you were going to pick this up.
And I'm like, I think I messaged you. I commented. I'm like, I wish we were doing a solo episode this week so I could address this.
Right.
Wasn't the plan, but here we are. And I almost forgot about it. Thankfully, I didn't. Deb was at some kind of pool party, and I saw flippers on Deb. She was dressed like a mermaid, and my first thought was like, what? And no offense to the people in your life, but what person in your life allowed this to happen? Like, you know what I mean? Because again, Deb is in her 30s, early 30s, and she was dressed up like someone that was like Ariel for Halloween. And the smile and the joy on Deb's face, I do not think could be matched. I do not think it could have been matched. Like there was so much happiness and joy in that picture, and it told me everything I needed to know. Deb has a problem with mermaids, but what is I guess what is wrong with you? What is
Did
this?
you not know this? I feel like you should have known this. I
Which
think
part?
that I love mermaids.
No, of course I know you love mermaids,
Oh,
but
yeah.
not again. Okay, I'll be honest. In the time I've known you, we've known each other for what? Almost no, definitely 3 years. A little over
Definitely.
3 years.
I think so.
little over 3 years.
Yeah.
And I knew you loved mermaids, but I kind of thought it was like a private, alone, like, hey, not too many people know this. If they come to my apartment, they know that mermaids are everywhere. I didn't expect you to be at a pool party
Oh
dressed
no.
like a mermaid.
Oh
That,
no.
that part shocked me. Like, I thought maybe, hey, look at my mermaid, water bottle. Hey, I have a mermaid t-shirt. No, she put flippers on, people.
You obviously, okay, well, I thought you would have known me better. So my feelings are hurt. A, B,
Well, if you'd show up more, then maybe I would know you better.
I
Go
knew you were
ahead. I'll stop interrupting. Go ahead.
so no, it is well known that I love mermaids. I have my friends nickname for me is mermaid, some of them. I
Sure.
literally respond to mermaid. Okay, so this is what happened at this pool party. So
Okay.
I was in an outdoor soccer tournament this weekend. I play indoor normally, and then they were doing a special like, oh, it's a tournament, we just need more people. So
How'd you guys do?
we did okay. We tied more than well, I don't think we won any games. I think we either tied or lost. I think we tied two and lost two because
Okay.
we played three on Saturday and one on Sunday, which by the way, I have never been sore in the outer part of my calves in my life. Like my legs, I'm not used to the sprinting and agility combined with like just the trotting up and down the field.
Right.
I love running anyway. I'm incredibly sore. And it's what day is it? Tuesday?
Yep.
Still sore.
Yeah.
I have to like force myself to go for a run after this episode in the heat or on my treadmill in the gym or something because I'm so sore. So anyway, so we played. It was a collective agreement that when our tournament is over on Sunday, we're going to one of our players' houses for like a pool party. Like, let's got a pool. Let's grab some beer. Let's get some food, and they have families, so their kids were over and everything. So I'm at this pool party. Everyone knows that, or most of them knows that I like mermaids. And someone commented and said, my daughter has a mermaid tail, like a swim to swim in. And I remember she said that a while ago. And I was like, oh my God, I want one so bad. Like that's my life.
How old is this kid?
She's 11.
Okay, carry on.
So the girl, the daughter, the kid that they were talking about, that we were at her house. So out of nowhere, she brings out I didn't even ask. Like I wasn't bugging anyone about it. I don't bug people for mermaid stuff. Like I either get mermaid stuff myself or people just like bring mermaid stuff up or talk about it with me. Like I don't, whatever. And so she brought it out and I was like my jaw dropped and I was like, you could swim in that? And she's like, yeah. And to my defense, I was not like going to like put it on or try to get in the pool or anything. I was just like, oh my God, that's so cute. Like, yeah, I swear, I'm not lying. And when they
sure.
gave it to me, I swear, I was like, no. And so she gave it to me. I was like, okay, let me put it on. So I wanted to put it on. This is not documented, but I put it on. Obviously I posed. That part's documented. I was just so excited because I was like, oh my God, this fits me. But my feet wouldn't fit in the fins because it's for an 11-year-old. So
we can't overemphasize that part enough. This is an 11-year-old's toy. Okay. Go ahead.
It fit me. But then everyone was like, swim in it, get in the pool. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I am not trying to, like, I seriously wasn't trying to. My friends peer pressured me and were bugging me so much that everyone had their phones out that I finally did get in the pool and I took a few like strokes, like swims, but my feet weren't in the flippers. So it was awkward. And then, then they were like unamused after that. And I was like, what did you guys expect? This is for an 11-year-old. Like I'm not trying to swim in this. I just wanted to just on the beach in it for a second, get some pictures. And so I swam in it and then I took it off and then the 11-year-old actually put it on. And I mean, she swam in it like a pro, like she's obviously been practicing. It's her tail, obviously. She looked amazing. So she was more entertaining to watch than I was for sure. But it was I think me putting the tail on was more entertaining for my friends than anything because they're the ones who got their phones out and were taking pictures of me because I had a hat on. I had a hat on with my hair in a up like in a bun. Like take your hat off. You need your mermaid hair down. Like this was like a photo shoot happening.
So it sounds like, yeah.
they're like, my friend went off to the side and she, the pool's behind me and she told the kids to get out of the way. She's like, get out of the way. We're taking a picture of the mermaid.
Deb's playing. Get out of the way, guys. Stop having fun. Yeah.
So it was it was fun.
That's cool.
Okay, and this is not, I'm not making this up either, but this past weekend was also Mermicon in Sacramento. Did you know?
My gosh.
Yeah.
I 100% did not know that.
I literally got text messages from friends with the itinerary saying you need to go to this. Look at, they have.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's pause there for a second. What is on a mermaid con, Mermicon itinerary?
There's an itinerary, like it's every year, and I didn't find out about it until COVID or until.
Would you have gone?
Opening it, heck yeah, I would have gone, but I had a soccer tournament to play. They're like, why aren't you there? I'm like, because I'm here with you fools playing soccer. This is ridiculous. So like I don't know what was on the schedule. It was like Friday night. It was a Friday night. There was some like mingle activity with everybody, and then Saturday was like a pool party. Like people bring their tails, like their tails that they buy to swim in, like props, and they have a big giant party in the water with their tails. And then on Sunday, they're like, Saturday night was like a Mermicon ball somewhere. Like, I'm not even making this up. I don't know. I got to look it up.
How could you? This sounds like nonsense. No offense to anybody that would go to this thing, but
I would definitely go. I want a rubber mermaid tail. That I like, that is one of the things that I want, except they're extremely expensive. And I don't
How much?
The like nice fitted custom made ones are like
not the cheap ones.
Like, they're like $3,000 or $4,000. They're like, it's not something I would spend money on right now, but I think that'll be so cool to have. My life goal is to be one of the mermaids at Dive Bar. I'm not even joking. That would be so fun.
You've mentioned that before.
Although it wouldn't, it'd be more of like, can I just swim in it for fun? I'm not going to really be like, I don't think I'll pass as like, because when you go there and you watch them swim, they're like, because they're all sexy and they're like doing like, I'm like, I would be like just wanting to like splash around in there and just like.
You should have seen her at the last pool party. She looked like a mermaid who played soccer for 3 hours or 3 games. Yeah.
I just want to go in there.
Yeah, you're right. That's probably not the look they're going for. Not struggling mermaid. hey, look how much fun I'm having. It's like, no one cares.
That's exactly.
Do something different, mermaid.
I'd be smiling and waving at people.
Yeah, that's maybe you're more suited for like Disneyland or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that would be better. All right. Well, that went down a lot of different directions I wasn't prepared for.
Josh didn't think it'd be that enthusiastic to talk about it, but yeah.
No, I knew that. And like I said, I did know your love of mermaids. I just didn't realize it would be like, hey, I'm going to throw a tail on in front of a bunch of people. That was new to me. Also, if we did a live show and they heard how you were describing the cost and the make and the materials of that mermaid tail, that's like, oh, Deb's going to buy a car pretty soon. Oh, wait, no, it's not a car. Oh, she's talking about a mermaid tail. What? She's like, yeah, maybe I could afford one, but I don't really want to get it. It's like, oh my gosh, this is all right. And are they meant to swim in? Like, are you supposed to swim in it? Or are you supposed to sit there?
No, what are you talking about? The expensive ones?
Well, the cheap ones, expensive ones, whichever mermaid tails you want to talk about.
Yeah, they're meant to swim in. Like they're
interesting.
Yeah, people have like photo shoots underwater and stuff with mermaid tails. I just
No. The sad thing is, you don't have to convince me. I 100% believe you. I'm just in shock that this is a thing. Again, no offense to anybody who loves mermaids out there.
I found my thing, but you know what? It makes it easy for my friends to buy me gifts, and I gladly accept them.
There we go. Mm-hmm. There you go. I know at one point when we first started this podcast, Deb, I had a picture of a monkey and it's like, yeah, it doesn't really fit. And Deb's like, well, what about a mermaid? I'm like, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Josh said, can we put a mermaid tail on there?
I was like, that doesn't really make much sense either. Even though there is a connection to you, it's like, I can't do it. So, all right, good. I'm glad I asked that question. That was fun. Thank you for sharing your obsession with mermaids. So.
Today, it's right here on my I'm by my sink.
Yeah.
Here's my coffee mug with mermaid scales.
See, very nice.
Okay.
See, that makes sense to me.
Here's my to-go mug. If you're looking on YouTube, here's my to-go mug with the mermaid from Starbucks.
She has 2 tails.
And yeah, and then here's my hydro flask with my mermaid tail. That
Very
was
nice.
literally, that was all in reach of me. So there's, in case y'all didn't thought I wasn't serious.
Oh no, I think they took my word for it. She's very serious. I'll just let everybody know if this
If you
wasn't a
don't
real
know,
thing.
you know me, you know I'm serious. You don't need to ask.
Yeah,
But
I would have never brought this up if I didn't think this was a very, very serious problem. You know, maybe not a problem, kind of. It's just it's I've never met anybody else who loves mermaids as much as you. So, and it's I'll say this too. There's kind of a weird thing because you have red hair, or is it orange hair? What do you say?
red, orange, strawberry, blonde. We'll
She's
just
a
say
ginger spice. So there is like that Ariel connection too, a little
yeah.
bit. So a lot of things add up, and it just it fascinates me. I'll say that it fascinates me. And then I saw the picture. I'm like, oh no, it's actually happening.
I got I got so many comments from that story.
That's surprising.
I got my friends doing the face palm emoji, like, oh my God, you seriously have a tail on. And I'm like, yep.
I'm with your friends. Like that's what can you do? This mermaid trail or this mermaid
They're not
train is
shocked.
going down the hill and you can't stop it. So
Oh, why
well,
wouldn't
good luck. Good luck
I?
in your quest for more mermaids.
Thank you.
Next year you can hit up the Mermaid Con and have a great time, I guess.
I'm going to go for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Well, then you can report back.
I will. I'll tell you guys if it's what I thought it would be.
Yeah, you come back and like, hey, I have a great guest for the podcast. She's a mermaid. No, not gonna happen. That's for definitely not here to judge because I'm judging that here.
That would be for not here to judge. Maybe not
100%. 100%.
too
So
much estrogen for Josh and
huh?
mermaid. Too much estrogen and mermaid for Josh.
So I'm in the estrogen, just the mermaids. That's the part that concerns me, but that's all right. Deb, what are we talking about today?
We're finally doing part 2 of Pet Peeves. I think Pet Peeves was a more popular episode.
Really
I
popular episode. Yeah.
even, I mean, not to the day exact, but even like up until recently, I've gotten a lot of like comments of like, oh my God, the Pet Peeves episode was good, or that was my favorite, or hey, I'm listening to Pet Peeves right now.
Yeah.
That I feel like that was a good one because I feel like people can relate,
I think
and
so.
we don't talk, I mean, we don't talk about things like that a ton on this show. I think it's just kind of fun. And
Mhm.
it's interesting to see what things bug people and how and if people can agree or not on them.
Oh,
So
100%. Well, because for some people, I mean, anytime you have a conversation about pet peeves, that you have some people, like you said, that line up and like, oh, are you kidding me? That drives me crazy too. And then you share something else, and they say, "What's the problem? When are you going to tell me what your pet peeve is?" Like, oh, that doesn't bother you? That drives
yeah,
me crazy. So
yeah,
it is very, very interesting. So uh,
yeah.
we tend sometimes when we have guests on and we're not, if there's any indication that there might be a no show situation, we try to have something as a backup just in case. And today it's pet peeves, so we thought it'd be a fun time to
So,
share them. So Deb, you want to start? You want to kick it off?
yeah, sure. And I mean, let me just start off by saying there really aren't a ton of things that bother me. I'm unfazed most of the time. However, that doesn't mean I'm a robot. So I do get annoyed with things, but I'm usually neutral, depending on my mood, I guess. But I had to, like was telling you earlier, I had to look up to see what I said last time because I couldn't remember and I didn't want to repeat anything in case you guys listened to the first Pet Peeves episode. Some of them are kind of similar, but I'll go into depth of like how it's different.
Okay.
Okay, so one of the things that I wrote down was micromanagement.
Hmm.
So, and then I put in my notes in parentheses when I don't need it because sometimes, I mean, and I guess I'll just speak for me personally. Sometimes in my job or whatever, and if I'm taking on a second job, or let's say I'm helping someone with something, whatever. Sometimes I do need it because, sometimes you do need to be redirected and, your boss telling you what to do. But when you, when I'm micromanaged in my in a professional setting and it's, it's one of those things where it's like, I got this, I know what I'm doing. It kind of like undermines you as an individual and a professional. And it just gets really annoying. And it's like, dude, leave me alone. Like, I know what I'm doing. Then why am I here if you're going to micromanage me? So that's definitely micromanagement. It's definitely a pet peeve of mine. For example, okay, so this is the first year hearing about this, Josh, but I just picked up a night job.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so
Awesome.
so on couple weekend nights, I'm working at like a bar, like nightclub right now. And
Cool.
I'm doing like front, like cover charges and stuff. It's really fun so far, by the way.
That's awesome.
I'm not micromanaged at that or anything, but I did have to be trained on certain things. And right now the boss is checking on me, making sure like, do you need anything? Like, do you have any questions? And, reminding me of some things. I think that's appropriate because I'm new
Right.
and I don't know the nightlife industry. I'm very much new to it. And even then they're not micromanaging me. Like I guess I wouldn't even call it that. Like they're just making sure I'm good and I'm
Right.
their money,
Sure.
that sort of thing.
It's kind of a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So,
Yeah.
they're not even micromanaging me. So, I guess the difference is, I don't know. I guess Josh, tell me your explanation of what you think micromanagement means, just because I want to hear someone else's explanation. But I feel like it's just, you have a job to do. And let's say your job is, I'm just going to throw something out there. Let's say your job is making pizza and you're putting the dough out and you're putting the sauce out and you're putting toppings out. You have a system, you know what you're doing, and someone constantly coming by you and saying, nope, put the pepperoni like this. Okay, put the cheese like okay, no, put the dough like this. Are you making sure? Like, go away or
Yeah.
come and do my job for me then if you don't think I'm doing it right. So in a setting like that where it's like there's an established thing, like I know what I'm doing, when you're micromanaged, it feels like I'm not trusted as
Yeah.
like a professional or an individual. So that's a huge pet peeve of mine. And I'm very independent and I love working and I'm a hard worker. And you give me a job, and if I have with me personally, if I'm having trouble, I will ask.
Sure.
And I will go and make sure and clarify. So if someone is constantly on me, and I'm not saying that happens even right now in my teaching job, that doesn't, like, it just, when it has in the past, or if it does happen, it is so, it's one of those things where I will probably lose a little sleep over it that night. Because I pride myself on being a hard worker.
Sure.
So for sure, I do not like being micromanaged. Again, so I don't know. What do you think I guess, did I describe it right? The micromanagement part? Yeah. No.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think you nailed it. I think, going back to your new night job, it's 100% different because you are being trained. Training doesn't count. And if you feel like you're being micromanaged during training, then you probably, it's training. Like you kind of got to get over that.
Right.
And then obviously there's a point where they kind of break off and they feel like comfortable with what you're doing, and then they can send you off with what you're doing as a teacher. You've been doing it for quite a while, and so you know what you're doing. So my thought is, if that starts happening, it's either one of two things, right? One, I'm sorry, there is something like you mentioned that maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe there's something that you're doing that they don't like, but rather than just coming out and saying it and addressing you about it, it's almost like hinting, which I don't like. I think it was one of my pet peeves for the last one, where there's just kind of like these little hints, like, the micromanaging is like, okay, am I doing this the wrong way, or is there something I need to change? Because if so, then we just need to have a conversation, so that way you're not wasting your time looking over my shoulder, and I can just get back to what I'm doing.
Right.
Or I've been in situations, in the past with other bosses that I've had where they like to get involved and micromanage when they kind of like pick and chose when they did it, which is very bizarre. It's almost like there's times where something comes up and they didn't have any interest, and all of a sudden they have a ton of interest, and that's kind of tough too. You know what I mean? So, no, but I think you nailed it. I think you explained exactly what micromanaging is and why you don't like it. I think most people, it is a tough thing. It is a tough thing to deal with, for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, I can go on and on about that, but that's one of them for sure.
We could have an episode on that one day. A full episode.
Right.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I probably, it's not one of my pet peeves, but like I said, when it's happened in the past, when it's not necessary, because like you do know your job and there's really no need for it. It's a weird control thing, I think, too.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm sure a lot of people are, slamming their desk right now. It's like, I'm with you, Deb. I'm with you. They're
Yeah.
probably being micromanaged right now as they're listening to this podcast. They're ready to fight right now.
Right. Got
um,
getting everyone riled up over here.
yeah, it's like, oh, that's
Mhm.
like may gain listeners, but they're going to lose their jobs over it. So good luck,
Mhm.
everybody out there. Uh, so okay, mine is not nearly as serious as that one, but I do not like it. I hate it. I've always hated it. I'm going to kind of combine. I'm going to combine. Just adding letters to words. I'm going to combine two of these because they kind of go hand in hand, same place. I don't like it when people don't put their grocery cart in like the grocery cart stalls in the parking lot, like when they just leave it in a parking spot. Don't
Mhm.
do that. And then I also don't like it when people get something at the grocery store and they realize, I don't need this anymore. Guess what? I'm going to put the Fruit Loops in the soap section, and they just leave their box of Fruit Loops there. Like, hey, you made the bad decision. You weren't checking your list. Go put the thing back where it belongs. Same
Yeah.
with the shopping cart. Like, hey, I get that there's someone out here that collects this stuff, but like,
Mhm.
be a decent human being. Don't just leave your grocery cart in the middle of the roadway in a parking spot. Because how many times have you gone into a parking lot and you get ready to turn into a parking space, and some moron decided to leave a cart right in the middle? I
Parking.
I hate it. I hate it, and I wish
Yeah.
people wouldn't do it. And I just don't know why people like. I don't even know why people have this mentality to do it. Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. It's laziness.
And it's entitlement, I think.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
label it however you want. It's
yeah.
yeah, I'm with you. It's like don't do that. And yeah, I'm yeah. Same. I don't like either. I had some issues in the grocery store parking lot. I also don't like it when, and this is me. I get that maybe it depends on the situation, but I also don't like it when people have to wait for a really close parking spot
Yeah.
when you could just like drive past. Like, there was one time I was with my family, and obviously we have two younger children, and we're getting them into the car, and this person like saw us loading the car up. We weren't even getting the kids in the car yet. We were loading the car up, and this lady
They
was saying,
waited.
they waited, they waited, and then
Not
uh,
ready,
and then
dude.
again, remember I just said I'm not one to just put my cart somewhere. I'm going to put it back. Well, guess what? My spot was pretty far from the. So I looked at her, and then I walked my cart all the way to where it was supposed to go. Then I walked back and looked at her again, like, what are we doing here? Because she was still waiting. And you
Wanted
know
your
what?
spot? Was it in the shade?
No, it was just close. And then, my wife was trying to get the kids in the car, or getting our second child in the car. And it was this whole thing. And then
Mhm.
I'm pulling out, and then she doesn't leave me enough space to get out.
Oh, heck no.
I'm like, what are we doing? And I'm a pretty calm person. I think you know that. Like, I'm not a confrontational person with stuff. I'm like, what are we doing? And then I'm not gonna finish the rest of the story because I said some things to my wife that were not kind. They're
Oh,
not kind things. They were it was not connectable friendly. I'll say that. Um, it wasn't like I didn't swear at her or anything like that. It was just I said some not nice things about her size. That's all I'm
you,
gonna say.
you meanie
So
head.
yeah, no, I was definitely. What did you say? A meanie head. I was definitely a meanie head in this moment. I won't repeat what I said because it was not kind. Now, did Rachel laugh? Yes, she did. She did find it funny, but it wasn't nice. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to repeat that part of it. But you guys get the idea. It's annoying. So
Yeah.
you know that was an
So have you
unexpected moment.
had right? Have you had more unpleasant experiences in store parking lots than pleasant experiences with all of that? Like, have you gone to the store and like you don't notice any of that before, and like there's no carts, nothing, and it's a good shopping experience, or is it more so because it's such a pet peeve of yours, you notice it, and you see it a lot more? Because I'm sure it's everywhere. It just, I guess it depends. Like me, for sometimes I don't even pay attention. Like I'm on my phone, or I'm talking on the phone, or I'm just off in my own little La La Mermaid land head, whatever, and I'm just like walking around. So do you notice it more? Like you see it like everywhere at the store?
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll see. You always, anytime I go to the grocery store, I'll always see something that's not in its place. And it's like it's not. It's like, oh, you put the Fruit Loops with the Cheerios. It's nothing like that. It's you put the Fruit Loops with the meat. Like, why is there a Fruit Loop box with the steak? This makes no sense. And it's like, oh, that person was lazy. So I do notice that you always see it. It doesn't drive me crazy. What I think what drives me crazy if I see someone do it. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, I saw your laziness in action. Why did we do this? Same with the cart. It's like, yeah, just push the cart into the curb. I'm like, why? Why did you do that? Just walk back. I know it's like 100 degrees. You won't die.
But there's usually a station to put the carts, like they spread them out through parking lots usually. So you can
Yeah,
usually just walk a few, like, I don't know, 10 or 20 feet or 2 yards or whatever, and then walk back to your car.
that's all I'm saying. And you're 100% right, Deb. They have
Yeah.
multiple stations throughout. And let me ask you this: as a professional physical education teacher, does walking kill you?
Absolutely not. Well, according to my students, it does. According to them, they're dying if I make them
Well, I might be talking about them
make their
then.
heart rate go up
Yeah,
by any
sure.
at all.
Yeah.
But
They
yeah.
complain it's like hot on like a 65-degree day. It's like,
Right.
oh,
Well, and I always, so when I just go off on that rant really quick and, I just, then we can move on or whatever. You can
sure.
say a few more words about it if you want. But even in a parking lot, obviously I don't mind physical activity. Like I will park far away and just walk to the front rather than drive around and find a close spot. Like I don't care. Like I will purposely find a far away spot
I'm
because I
with
don't
you.
really want anyone near my car anyway. Because
Sure.
she's a baby. So I'm just like, oh, whatever. Like I'll park way back here. I'm not trying to find a close spot. Like even if I go somewhere crazy like the mall, whatever. Let me just find a spot back here and go for a nice stroll.
I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. Like, I just don't get the mentality. It's like, I'm going to wait for this first spot. Yeah, but you
No,
waited like 10 minutes and then now you have to go back. Yeah,
I
I mean,
think,
it's silly.
well, just let me go on a mini. I think that's another, now that I'm thinking, it's not on my list at all, but thanks. You got me all riled up. That's
This is where it gets good
a
when we
pet
start
peeve.
bouncing off each other.
Right. A pet peeve of mine is that if I'm in the car with, and I'm not driving and I'm in the car with someone and they take forever to find a spot because they want to find the perfect spot. I'm like, oh my God, just park somewhere. Like
Yeah.
I can't sit in the, like, it's right there. We just passed the door. Like we could have been out in there by now. And now you're wasting gas and driving around. And that doesn't happen a lot. I'm just saying the few times that it does happen. And I don't say anything because that's not my car. That's my rule. If I'm not driving and that's not my car, I don't say shit. That you get to do
Right.
whatever you want,
Right.
which is why I like to volunteer to drive a lot. But it's like, just find a spot, just park and let's just go in there because we could have been in there like 10 minutes ago.
I'm with
But
you.
anyway,
Yep.
the mini
That's good to
rant.
know. And just know as you're driving around looking for a spot with Deb, I'm losing my mind because you've waited for me to get on my parking spot and I want to fight you. So, not physically, but I'm not happy. And
Yeah.
verbally, I'm going to say a few things.
Yeah.
So, anyways, all right, that felt good. All right,
That's good.
what else? What else do you have, Deb?
Off my chest.
Yeah.
Okay, my next one is screaming children. I'm sorry, and I know you have children,
Well,
but
we made disagree. We're gonna have a little bit of a different perspective on this, but yeah, go ahead.
well, let me give you some examples. Yeah, please give me your perspective as a parent. That would be
Sure.
great, actually.
Yeah.
And I have a nephew. My sister has a kid. I have nephews. I have nieces, and whatever. And I know I don't expect kids to be quiet. Like I know children do not know how to process emotions. That's why they scream and cry. I totally understand that.
Sure.
Um, okay, I guess let me just narrow it down to like screaming kids on airplanes. Let me just
Okay.
narrow it to that, I
That's a
guess.
that's a pretty that's a pretty common one. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But however, so on over spring break when I went to Europe, on our way back, we hopped on a plane in Switzerland and we flew to London to take our connecting flight from London basically to San Francisco. So anyway, so the Switzerland to London flight was only like an hour and a half. Wasn't super long, thank God, because that flight, I mean, I think if I weren't so tired, I was so sleepy on that plane just from traveling and getting things and just, we're on our way home that I just was too tired to be annoyed about it during, because I don't know how I did not lose my mind. But on that plane, I want to say there were at least two handfuls of meaning like a little less than 10 kids screaming literally the whole time.
Yeah, that's tough.
And I'm not, and they weren't toddlers. These are like 6, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, maybe even
Right.
screaming and yelling just the whole time. I'm not exaggerating. I have witnesses and evidence. You can ask the other Deb. You can ask anyone that was on that flight with me, that went on that trip with me. They were screaming the whole time. And I'm like, why? I don't know. So again, give me your perspective as a parent. I'm sure that's rough. I don't know what I would do as a parent. I have no idea because I don't have kids. So I don't know what the protocol here, is here, but they were screaming the entire hour and a half. I'm no exaggeration. Anytime I like drifted off to like a faint sleep, I woke up, they're still screaming. I would drift off again. I woke up, they're still screaming. It was like a constant, like no silence. And I just and everyone around me is like looking back at them and like turning around and looking. And like, I think everyone was just at a loss. And I feel bad for the parents. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I really do. I don't know. I just don't know. People parent differently. I don't know. Obviously, I'm never going to say anything to anyone about how to parent their kid because I don't know how to parent a kid. I don't know what I would do. I don't have them. But anyway, so what is your take on that? Because I mean, and let me give you a take. Like, let's say at the grocery store, a kid's like throwing a tantrum. Whatever, that's going to happen. But if they're like going up and down the aisles and running and screaming and doing whatever they want, and the parent is not like policing them at all, like that's another pet peeve of mine. And because the kid could get hurt, it's like, dude, your kid's going to run into something or someone, So anyway, so you give me your take on that as a parent, because that was rough. So rough.
No, 100%. I would say, I mean, obviously my kids are younger, so I don't even have kids the age that you're talking about. And it is tough to say specifically. I will say this, you're much nicer than I am. I think I
try to be sensitive because I don't have kids. So I'm not about to go around and tell people, can you please make your kid be quiet? Just because I don't personally know the difficulty of what it's like to be an actual parent to small children. I have no idea. I know what it's like to be around teenagers all day long, and I know how to police them. At least I think I do, just because I've been doing it for almost a decade now, even though they're not kids. But with the littles, I don't know how. I don't know how you guys do it. But
and I guess the only reason I say you're nicer than me is because it really does depend on the situation, right? Like if it's a baby crying, sorry everybody, like this is just kind of what it is.
You can do about that.
My wife and I, we've never taken our kids on a plane, but both of them are pretty young still. The one specifically just turned 1, so she's really young. The other one's 3, but she's just really high energy, and we understand that there would be some challenges with that, and it probably wouldn't be the best at this point. So we choose not to do it. One, because we don't think it would be the best for just our kids trying to do that right now. Also, we understand, like, we don't necessarily want to do that to everybody on board. So we think about that. Not that she would lose her mind, but it would be a challenging situation potentially. There's a good chance it would be a challenging situation. So we try to think about that ahead of time. Now, some people just will do it, and even if their kids have a lot of energy and it's gonna be tough to have them sit there for an hour to 5 hours or however long the flight is, they choose to do it. My thought is, if you choose to do it, you're accepting responsibility for the hate that you get on that plane, because especially if it's not a trip that you have to take, like if we just want to go on vacation, my thought is, like, you have to understand that not everybody has kids on the flight, and not everybody's going to be super hyped that you're here with kids that are crying, even a baby, right? Like that's just how it's going to be. Like not everybody's going to have that understanding. And would it be nice? Sure. But I think from both sides, like there's going to be a point where you have to understand, if you get on a plane and you don't have kids, there's a potential that you're going to get on a plane with kids and babies and stuff like that. Now, where I don't know, if they're like 6 or 7, again, it's easy for me to say because I'm not there yet, but I do feel like something could probably be done at that point, because there's a very big difference between a baby crying because the baby's hungry, or maybe something the baby can't communicate, crying, versus a 6-year-old who's like, hey, let me see how far I can chuck these peanuts down the aisle. You know what I mean? Like,
let me see how loud I can yell. Like that's literally, like, I still hear it in my ear right now. Like I keep having flashbacks to the piercing screams, yells. Like, I'm not talking that they were just talking loudly. I mean, that probably was a little combination of that too, but literally yelling and screaming.
Yeah, in my opinion,
no other description of it.
Yeah, in my opinion, just based on what we know, like I'm not even concerned about thinking about like, well, maybe this or that. Like
Yeah.
it sounds like these are just kids being loud. I think someone probably needed to step in and say something because it is just not. It's just not the way you would want to do things. Just
Yeah.
in public with other human beings, it's not the way to do it. Now, I'll say this: the one thing that I always feel like my heart uh, hurts a little bit for is when, there's obviously, and this doesn't sound like a situation at all, but when you have someone that has special needs, they have a child
Right.
with special needs. And
Right.
I always get a little bit tense when I see that situation, not because of them, because I feel for their situation, but if some person, my mom has the same thing. It's like we have a little bit of an issue. If you get the sense that like people are being impatient with that are not related to them, it's like, dude,
Yeah.
you have to like have some compassion. Like this is not some kid that's just misbehaved. This is a kid that has a special need situation. You got to be a little more compassionate. Like you may not like the loud noise, but
Right.
there's nothing they can do about it. So you gotta chill
Right.
out a little bit.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's those situations, but like in a situation like you're talking about, yeah,
Mhm.
no, it would be tough. And again,
Mhm.
I hope not, one day I'm not in the situation where you're complaining about my kids. Hopefully that we do a good enough job saying, hey, we don't
Yeah.
do that. But
Right.
that's why I'm like, I don't know if I can always say I feel bad for the parents because sometimes it's the parents' fault. like, you know,
So it's parents' fault. Well, sometimes I'll see it like a single mom, or I don't know. I guess I shouldn't. I don't know if they're single, but just a parent or a dad by themselves with like
sure.
multiple children, and I'm like, oh, well, sorry, bud. Like, I don't know how to help you. Like, I don't know. I don't know. That trip. What? And I honestly I don't really have any other complaints. I think that was just my pet peeve was that plane ride and
Yeah.
those screaming kids because I was like, someone has
Yeah.
got to do something. This is ridiculous. Like this does
Well,
not
it's,
happen.
yeah. And
But
even if you don't have kids, and I'll say this too, I think when you have kids, and I've heard people say this, and I'm starting to understand this a little bit more myself, especially when I go to Target. You see this a lot at Target. Kids losing their mind. It's like, rough day, huh? Like,
right. Well, I do that too. Like I'll see a kid screaming. My nephew will throw himself on the ground. And I'm like,
yeah,
really? Okay. Like I just like so
yeah,
I see that and I'm totally like, yep, I feel the same way. Like I'll make a joke to if I'm in like at the grocery store and they're, the kids like, crying or why I'll just say I do the same thing when I'm hungry. Like I get it. Like I
right.
just, I'll make a comment, like whatever. But I think just collectively, like there were so many screaming kids on that plane. I was like, oh my God, this is
Right.
so
Well, and here's the thing, like you're not used to it, right? Like you deal with high
right.
schoolers,
There's that too.
you don't run a daycare. So
Right.
like there is a back and forth. Like, why would I expect you just to be cool with all of this screaming when
Right. Right.
you're not used to it? Like, you know what I mean? So it's not unreasonable to be annoyed with that at all, And like you said, there's situations out there that are probably really difficult if you have a single parent that's trying to make this trip and they have to make the trip. Like I said, my thought is if it's like, hey, I want to have a fun trip to Disney World with my kids, we're gonna fly across the country.
Uh-huh.
You think that's a good idea? Maybe wait until they're a little older. Like there is that part
Yeah.
of it too, at least in my opinion. Like, okay, if you're choosing to do this, just understand this could happen and you could have 50 people on the flight that are wishing death upon you. Just know
Right.
that that's the case, So that's kind of my thing. Like I think having some awareness too. But
Right.
again, there's a lot of different ins and outs to that and different situations
Mm,
that could come up. So um,
right.
yeah, it's interesting.
Right.
But yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Bam.
Uh,
There's my
I'm
other
gonna
one.
go.
You're
I'm
next.
gonna go to this one because I know we don't have a ton of time
Right.
now because we spent some time on the mermaid thing.
I know we can't remember the mermaid thing. Sorry, go ahead.
So I'm gonna do two more if that's cool with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll cut this down to like 3 pet peeves. Not that
Okay.
this is not really like a top 5 episode. This is just pet peeves. We're just kind of talking.
Talking about it.
Um, I'm just gonna say this one because it happened today. This today's not as bad. I'll say that. Um, but in the past, this has happened, and Deb knows. And this is again, Deb's much kinder and more understanding than I am when it comes to this. But uh, I, everybody, please listen to this very carefully. I have a real tough time when people bail and no show on the podcast, and not just bail. I'm gonna be more specific because I'm not a heartless person. I'm not a heartless man. I understand things come up. Deb, stuff's come up for you. Stuff's come up for me. Like where I'm like a couple weeks ago, I'm like, hey, I can't do it. Can you do this one? For you, stuff comes up. Like it's all good. I understand that. The problem I have, and this has happened a few times, where someone we book someone,
Mhm.
they bail and they say I can't do it, and then they have me like bend over backwards to try to reschedule. I change times that we don't normally record. We've done that before. You and I, there was one time that you and I, early podcasting. I don't know if you remember this.
In person. I think I do. I know you're going to talking about.
In person on a Saturday morning.
Yes, I remember.
We don't record on the weekends.
No.
You and I have 9 to 5.
Actually, not Saturday morning. I think it was like a 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Like
I bought Deb a Red Bull on my way in. It was that early, people. I'm like, we were drinking Red Bulls. I was like, I'm about to fall asleep. We get there and the guy didn't show. And he's like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention. You forgot to mention, like we did this whole thing because you said you couldn't do it during the week when we normally do it. So we like made it a point to schedule it so you could do it. And then you just didn't even, like, we scheduled it for a week. We, followed up all that stuff. I don't like that, but especially when we're like, there was one guy for a combine. I'm not going to say his name. We booked him last minute, probably about 20 minutes before the show. He said he couldn't do it because he had something else he had to do. Okay. You waited 20 minutes, which really kind of screws us over because we could have booked someone else in your place. I'm like, cool, let's reschedule. We reschedule it. Then this clown, the day of, is like, oh, I can't do it. The day of, I can't do it because I realized I double booked a date night with my wife. Like, hey, bro, you tell your wife you messed up. I told Rachel that. I said, if that was me, I would just come to you and say, hey, I screwed up. I apologize. But this is something I have to, I committed to this. I have to do it. Even if I get in trouble, I have to do it.
He'd rather get in trouble by us. He didn't want to get in trouble with his wife.
I know. Hey man, don't be a punk. Don't be a punk. Man up and get in trouble by your wife, which is probably gonna sting more than 2 people you don't know. That it drives me crazy. And it's happened a few times. And I think the pet peeve is not just the no-show. I can give a little forgiving. I can be forgiving for some of that stuff. It's really when we go out of our way to accommodate someone and then they do that. There's another person, I'm not even going to get into it, but there's a bunch of stuff they did. And I talked to you about it afterwards and you're just like, but this and that. I'm like, she's like, it kind of reminded me of one of my students. I'm like, really? All right, Deb, because I'm fuming. Because like it's just a lack of respect for our time. You know what I mean? And I'll be the first to admit, I've told my wife this before. I said, every time it happens, I said, I'm not saying like, we're not making money doing this. We just love podcasting. We love having conversations. We love connecting with people. So it's not like we're not like Joe Rogan, right? It's not Bill Simmons' podcast. We don't sit up here thinking like, oh man, this is the best podcast ever. You're lucky to be on here. It's never that. It's more like, hey, we love having conversations and we put a lot of time and effort into doing this. You do the same for your own podcast. Like we enjoy doing this and we put a lot of time and effort and we take time out of our day because we feel like this is an important platform.
Right.
And so when someone's like, it's not that big of a platform, like a platform, not that big of a podcast, like I can just kind of brush it off. Like I hate that because it's like you and I have never done that to anybody else. We've been invited to multiple podcasts. We've never once brushed them off. And if we ever had to, we would just give them like, we would be so apologetic. Yeah. And so that drives me nuts because it's just like a lack of like respect for someone's time. It's happened a couple of times. Right. And I'll say this, the closer it gets to me, like the more I know the person, the more it's going to probably be frustrating to me and sting a little bit. It's happened a couple of times and like that.
Right.
So that's my rant. Sorry.
Right. No, it's okay. Is it? Well, and I think you said at the beginning, you said you said that I might be more nice about it than you or whatever. And I think I'm ruined because I'm so used to dealing with teenagers and their lack of just and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're like invalids. Like a lot of them are respectful and a lot of them do like are, I don't give that percentage enough credit. It is a small percentage, but most of them, they're teenagers. They don't, especially today's teen, they're just it's very common for them to be forgetful of things or like skip out on things or and stuff comes up. So like I think I'm around that all the time. So I'm just like, oh, okay, well, something came. And it's not that I make excuses for my kids either. Like, if anything, I fake being like, really? Why? Like, I give them a lecture but then in my head, I'm like, man, whatever. Like they're teenagers, like they do need to learn. But I think I'm so used to that. So I'm just like permanently conditioned.
See, and I think I'm like, because we've had this conversation before. It's like, oh no, that's cool. These are adults that are doing this to us. Like, and here's what drives me crazy too, is there's been some people on this podcast that we've had that are incredibly successful. Some people that we consider friends of the show, some people that we've had on one time, Combine, like my home team podcast, your Not Here to Judge podcast, this one, like we've had some people that are really successful, very busy people, yet
Yeah.
they've never once bailed on us. Like
No.
they've committed to it,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
not only that, but then they delivered like an amazing show when they came on here.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm like, man.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably, I don't know. I've tried to be as protective as possible of our time. And I
Mhm.
include you in that as well, because you and I have had multiple conversations about the times that work, the times that don't. If you can't make it, like as much as I give you a hard time on the show, in all seriousness, like off air, we've always said, I'm like, if you need to take time off, just do it. Like I can hold down the fort, and I know you would do the same for me. And
Right.
so I've always tried to be protective of our time, because I know you have a life outside of this. I have life, family, kids, all that stuff. So then when anybody just is just not respectful of someone's time, I'm like, man, I don't understand that. Like that's bizarre to me. So that's
Yeah.
where I think that some of that comes from. So like a kid, like you said, a teenager, that would be like, all right, here we go. It's a teenager.
Yeah.
Their brain is still developing, right? So
Well, and I'll admit, like, okay, so if I don't put anything in my calendar, I swear it's not going to happen. Like I
right,
constantly am like, I have to write things down. I have to have it in my calendar. I have shared calendars with my friends just so that we are all on the same page with
right,
certain things. Like, let's say we have tickets to events or whatever. You and I have a shared calendar, obviously,
right.
for this show. And like if I book on Not Here to Judge, I have I have to anyway. I think that's common. But again, if it's not there, it's not, I don't just remember, oh yeah, I have this today. Unless it's a routine, unless it's something I do every
Right.
week or every day or something. I do feel bad though. So that was me. I screwed up on one of my Not Here to Judge guests. I still have to rebook with her. I don't know her. I had just met her through social media. But she reached out and she wanted to be on Not Here to Judge, to talk about mental health stuff. So we were
Oh,
looking
cool.
yeah. So we were looking for a day. So, okay. So your pet peeve, I'm the one who screwed up here, because we were looking for a day. We found a day. I didn't put it in my calendar. I don't know why. I usually do. I'm usually really good about it. And the weekend flew by. I missed it. I never shared a Zoom thing with her though, because we were like, let's do it over Zoom.
Okay.
So a Zoom thing was never shared or anything.
Yeah.
We just kind of had said like a few weeks prior, like, okay, let's do this date. And that weekend flew by, and I didn't check my Not Here to Judge messages until like that Monday or Tuesday. And she had messaged me like that day or the day before, are we on? And oh my God, I felt so bad. I messaged back and I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, are you still willing to come on? I totally screwed up. I felt so bad. So,
That's a bummer.
well, and so like, yeah, I screwed up. I didn't put it in my calendar. So I totally did that. And I genuinely felt bad, because that's happened to us, and it totally screws up our time. And so as you're saying it, I'm like, I've done that. I'm like, I did that. But yeah, she was really nice about it, and we still have to reschedule, but
yeah. And like I said, I want to make this very clear too. And I tried to say this at the beginning. I don't know if I made it clear enough. I understand stuff happens. And so there's a little bit of a difference. Like the no-show, like even today's guest, no-show.
Mhm.
I'm not even feeling that bad about that one. Stuff happens. I get that. And we'll probably connect and hopefully reconnect for a podcast later. I think where it really gets me is when there is like a lack of, like when we, like I said, when we bend over backwards, like, oh, I can't do it this time. I can't do it this time. It's like you're accommodating someone.
Yeah.
And then they bail, and then you do it again. It's like, oh, I can't do it now because of this. And then it's like, if there's like a pattern of disrespect and what is it? Disrespect.
Inappropriate behavior.
Inappropriate behavior.
Yeah.
If it becomes a pattern, if it becomes a pattern, or if it becomes like, hey, we've done all this. Oh, by the way, I can't do it. Like, well, now you messed up our entire schedule, and there doesn't seem, and if they don't apologize, it's happened a couple of times. The dude that didn't come on the show that one Saturday, I think he apologized the first time, didn't even apologize the second time. It's like, you've done this to us twice though.
Right.
Like, you got to help me out a little bit. I know you're busy, and I know this is not big time, but still, man, you got to help us out. So anyways, that's my pet peeve. Don't like that. I don't judge you for that though. Cause like I said, that's what I said, stuff happens. You know,
Right.
it would have been a lot different if you scheduled the whole thing. You gave her the Zoom,
And
and like
then
the
totally didn't like, yeah.
yeah, if she
Yeah.
didn't have the Zoom, then it's like okay,
Over the
that's
Zoom.
you know.
Yeah.
And but here's what I know about you: it's not going to happen again with her.
Oh
Like,
no.
there's no way it would. See, these other
If
people,
I schedule, that's not, it's going in my calendar in all caps. And yeah, because now I've screwed up once already with her. That would be so disrespectful to just blatantly do it again.
hey,
And
but you know what?
obviously,
People have
yeah.
done it. People have done it, and so I'm like, all right, well, there we go. So that's my anyway. That took a long time. I apologize, but
Okay.
you want to just do one more each?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let's okay. This is kind of, I've mentioned this the first time around, but I'm gonna kind of change it. Well, and I don't know what examples I gave the first time. I don't remember, but, and I guess it's a big one for me. So I'm just gonna say it again, but rude people. Like especially in public, rude people in public. So let me expand.
Okay, and I have a question for you that I wasn't going to say this one. I was going to leave it off, but I do have a question that's going to kind of tie into this because I want to hear your thoughts on this. Mine's dumb and silly, but it kind of
Okay.
ties into the rude thing.
Okay. So, okay. I get things happen. Okay. So I just have an example. I went a few weekends ago. I went to Oregon with family. We drove there. So driving there and back, we stopped a lot to like eat and stuff at like fast food places just to get something really quick and go.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to like the borderline of Oregon, and we stopped at a McDonald's. Me and my dad and my stepmom, and we walk in and they are severely understaffed, and that's happening everywhere right now. Everyone's understaffed, no one's working, like it's just, everyone's hiring, so they're severely understaffed. I think they're like maintenance guy was like working back there, was running around doing fries and stuff, like people, like it looked like volunteered at this place.
Wow.
And everyone in line was actually very understanding, and they're like, it's okay, you guys, you're doing a good job. But there was this one guy, I guess you can do like a mobile order for McDonald's, you
Okay.
have that thing now. And he like went off on them. He's like, you guys said it would be ready at this time and it's not ready. And this is ridiculous. And I'm looking at him like, bro, what'd you lose? Like $5? Like, can I give you $5? Like, what? Like, I mean, everyone ignored him. Literally everyone didn't
Really?
even waste their time.
That's
Yeah, no one
impressive
said,
that they ignored him.
no one ever, well, because we're in Oregon. I think people in Oregon are nicer
Oh,
than here.
okay, sure. Fair enough.
Yeah. And it was an older population town that we were in. I almost said something, but my dad's there and my stepmom's there. So I just kind of was like, and he left. He wasn't ranting for long, but I'm like, wow, your life is that bad that you're going to yell at these people who are busting their butts that probably aren't supposed to work today. And they're trying so hard to get this food out in time for you. And you're just going to yell at them, like, get out of here.
That's
Like, I can't
ridiculous.
stand when people are rude to people working, especially in the service industry. And I've believed this even before I started this night job. Like, I've always believed, like, that is like, relax. You don't have to be here. You are not entitled to them, serving you like as fast as you can. I understand sometimes you do run across some workers who they are rude, whatever. I don't know. Like, I don't even want to go there, but but even then it's like, you don't know, like these people are working, they're trying their hardest. I have a thing about being rude, and I'm sure a lot of people do too, about being rude to like wait staff, being
Yeah.
rude to just being like, why, for what? Especially when I'm on dates, I watch for that a lot. I
Yeah.
haven't really come across that a ton, which is good. It gives me hope. But
Yeah.
I kind of watch how they treat wherever we go, bar, restaurant, whatever. I watch how they treat the bartenders, the wait staff, anybody. Like, are they
Right.
nice to them? That is
Yeah.
like, there will be a day where I do go off on somebody who was rude to a worker. Like,
It's only a matter of time.
a matter of time. I can only hold it in for so long. So
I've had situations. I was telling someone that the other day. It's like there's a couple of things for me that if I see it again, like I said with the special, if I see anybody making fun of like someone especially, I did almost. I think I almost saw it the other day, and like I did stop, just to like hear it out. Like, all right, this is the moment. It's gonna happen.
here it comes.
got a story for Tuesday on Connectable. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. Like it probably is going to happen at some point, but yeah, it's just not necessary. And what I was going to say, because you mentioned sometimes the wait staff is rude. That can definitely happen. And I don't think again, people have bad days. I get that. It's not like you should just be like, oh, everything's all good. Like if the wait staff's rude, the wait staff's rude. That's just the bottom line. But let's be honest though, the dude that you saw at the place you were at, the restaurant you were at, it doesn't matter if the person's rude or not. Like that dude's probably going to be rude. You can just tell certain people they're just going to be rude no matter what because the world revolves around them, right? And them getting their Big
Yeah.
Mac.
I'm like, bro, do you hate your life? Like, what is
Yeah.
wrong with you?
Right. Right. Yeah. It's just, was this a large man?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. I don't want to stereotype, but I thought maybe.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, it was just an angry individual. Like it was just like he needed to get smacked. Just
Yeah.
like
Well, let's not smack you. Let's not smack them.
well, well,
We've talked about this. We
yeah.
can't. I mean, we could try to figure it out, but I don't really want to do a podcast through like the 15-minute prison calls. And hopefully, you would have someone better to call than me for a podcast.
No, I would definitely still be on here.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. All right.
What was
No.
your question? You had a question for me.
Yeah. So along that, it's not as serious as what you just said, but again, it has to do with wait staff and it has to do with going to a restaurant. Maybe this is more common than I think. I personally just don't like this when people do this because I just think there's something about it that seems yucky to me. And maybe I'm overreacting to this. You tell me, because you go out, especially now, you go out to more restaurants and bars and stuff like that. But when someone's ordering,
Mhm.
I don't like it when they say, like, give me a cheeseburger. Like, I don't like when they use that verbiage of saying, like, give me, like, the waiter's like, oh, what would you like today? And they're like, oh, give me this. I don't like when they say, give me. It's like, I'll take, this, or I would like to order this. Like, there's a different wording. I just don't like when they say, oh, give me this. Because like sometimes those douchebags like lean back too. It's like, oh, give me one of these. I'm like, what are you a mob boss? Why are you doing that? Like, why are you leaning back like that? You know what I mean?
What? Who do you hang out with? Who does that?
I'm not going to mention names, but no, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is. Like that wording to me, it just sounds demanding. And it just like, it's not necessary to me.
I'm trying to think. I honestly don't
You
even
say it?
no. I say when I order, I say, can I get this? Or
You know
I'd
what's
like
weird about that? When you say it, like when you say, hey, can I get this? Then there's always that douchey waiter is like, I don't know, can you? It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Are we in school now? Like, I'm not asking to use the restroom pass. Just
I don't know, can you? I don't, no one said that to before, but if they say that back, I will definitely snap something back, not in a rude way, but like in a playful, like fun way, because at that point you're just asking for it. So I'm just gonna
right.
stop messing with you
You
now.
started this. Here we go.
Right. I say, yeah, no, me and my friends and even dates I've gone on, I think the verbiage is always, can I get, or can I please get, or I'd like to order, or yes, we will get this. Not how give me, is that what you said?
Yeah, give me a cheeseburger.
Give me.
Like,
No, I don't think
I've heard people do this. I'll say it's few and far between.
now, because I don't believe I've heard that ever or in a long time, like someone saying that. Well, the people I'm with. So that's why I'm like, Josh, who are your friends? What?
Oh, I'm gonna be very clear. It's none of my friends.
Okay. So
I would not consider these people friends. And again, it's few and far between when I've heard it.
Yeah.
And sometimes like I've even heard it like, like a table next to us. I hear it. It's like, why did you order like that? Like, again, it's probably a small thing in their mind. They're probably thinking like, oh, I just ordered, but it sounds weird to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting.
I'm gonna start paying attention now because
seriously, let me know. Cause like, it's just weird. It kind of feels kind of like I'm better than you, servant. Give me my food. Like, all right.
Right. Yeah. That goes along with the rude people.
That's why I wanted to ask you. I wasn't going to bring it up, but and let me know if I'm overreacting to that. But like, not that I would never say anything, but I'm just like, yeah, that's kind of gross way to order.
The few times that I can actually remember, I honestly haven't been out with a ton of people who are actually rude to wait staff, but even if I'm trying to think, like, even if there's a tone that someone takes with the wait staff when they walk away, I look at them and I'm like, do you want them to do something to our food? What the hell are you doing? Like, stop. Like, you better be nicer. Like, I will say something.
Hey, I ordered the same thing as you. We can't play this game.
No, and it's just like now they're gonna take forever to bring our food. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Like, and it's not enjoyable. You're out, you go out to like have a good time and to like,
Well, then
so
it's tense the entire time. I'll say this: I've never been with someone that was rude to the wait staff, but I have been in situations where you could tell there was some tension between the wait staff and
well,
the
yeah.
and the person, and then it's like every time they come to the table, it's like, what's going to
Well,
happen here?
right. And well, let's say, sorry, then I'll be done with this rant. But like, even, okay, let's say it's taking forever. Let's say there are things that it's like, oh my God, we haven't, like, no one's come over here in like a half an hour. Da, 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 da. And I don't know. I don't know how restaurants work. I don't know if it gets busy or if they're short staffed. You don't know the situation. Maybe they did screw up. Who knows? I don't know. But it gets awkward when someone at the table automatically starts off by saying, no one's been over here for a while, and like starts off kind of pissy,
Yeah.
and then I just want to leave. And I'm just like, can we just go somewhere else? Like, I'm not about to start being, start our order with being irritated at the waiter or waitress
Right.
because it took too long. Like, they're busy. Then maybe
Right.
we shouldn't have gone here at this hour. Or, like,
Yeah.
I don't, even if it's seemingly the restaurant's quote, air quote fault, like, I don't even like, don't be rude. Just have a good time, order a drink your drink and wait for your food and just talk to each other. Like, there's
Right.
no reason to be angry. Then just leave and go somewhere else, is what I always say. Anyway.
Yeah. No, that's happened to me one time, and there was a mix up, I think, on the food. I don't think they even put our order in because I saw them at the counter talking. I was on a trip with my two brothers, and we were sitting at this place in a different town, and it was a pizza place, and we were waiting for like an hour,
Oh
and
my,
or
oh
no,
no.
it was longer than that, an hour. I'm like, hmm. And so when they came over, I said, hey, I just wanted to check to see if there's any kind of time on our order. And she's like, oh, let me check. And then you saw the guy's face when he went to the count, like the little computer. He's like,
Oh no.
oh no. And he
Whoops.
realized he didn't put it in. And he never said that. He's like, oh yeah, we're still working on it. But we all knew it's like, no, you guys didn't put it in.
Didn't put
He's
it
like,
in. Yeah.
because he's like, oh, let me get you another pizza while you guys are waiting. It's like, oh,
Oh,
okay. Because it was a deep dish pizza, so it was gonna take longer.
right.
And she's like, yeah, it takes about this long. I said, yeah, but it's been this long. She's like, oh, okay. But again, there's
Yeah.
no reason to be rude. Like we had a great conversation. It's a funny story now. Um,
Yeah.
they also
Right.
didn't refill Jordan's drink the entire time, which was awesome because
Which is awesome.
they left. So me and my youngest brother, we just had water. Jordan had like a Coke or something like that. And they left. Not only did they not refill his the entire time, but they left when he went to the restroom, they brought us a pitcher of water. So like we were set for the entire night. And then he was just sitting there with no drink. It was
Well,
awesome.
I'm glad you guys joked about it, because sometimes that's just the reality. Like, it's not going to be perfect, and it's
Yeah,
okay. It's okay to ask, like, hey, can I have some, can my, blah, 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 I haven't had anything for a while. You could say that without being rude or
100%.
without like tearing a worker apart. Like, just
Right.
ask them what you need.
Right.
And if it's not a great experience, then just go somewhere else next time
It's
where
pretty
you have a
simple.
better experience.
You've got options. So sit
Yeah,
down and shut up. Just take your
exactly.
food. Just wait for your food. Yeah.
Drink and wait for your food.
That's
Exactly.
it.
That's it.
Um, okay, so I got one more, and I'm just gonna finish up here, and we'll wrap this thing up because I know you want to run. I have to go. Uh,
Running
the,
this 100-degree heat, by the way, I'm like debating. I'm like looking at the weather. Oh my God.
I'll be honest, I actually enjoy it. I don't go for long runs.
Ugh.
The only
I
thing I don't like is I don't like taking water with me, but I do when it's hot. I just don't like, you know. Okay, let me take it back. That being said, if it's really short, then I won't do it. But I brought water on Saturday because it was pretty hot. Like, whew, glad I did. But it was gone by a certain, like halfway through the run. Like I still got
is it,
5 miles left.
oh my God. Do you do like a plastic water bottle so you can throw it away? Or is it like a canister? Like, what do you mean you take the
No, it's like
water?
one of those like runner's water bottles that you like put your fingers
Oh,
through, and it's
oh, nice.
it's not very big because I didn't want it to be like huge. Where I had I don't like running with camelbacks. It's a mess. So
Yeah.
I should start running by lakes. So I just like take a drink out of the lake and just keep going.
Gross.
Hey, sometimes I'm holding that stupid water bottle. I'm like, is it really worth it, or would I just drink out of somewhere else?
Right.
Okay, so last one. This one drives me nuts, and obviously because I'm a dad, this is um, this is why this one's on my list because I'm a dad now. I don't like lazy. I'll be honest. I don't like lazy guys in general because I think it makes us look bad. But I really don't like lazy dads.
Mm.
Um, I have a really tough time with it
Mhm.
because um man up. You got to man up. Like, you have kids, life's busy, life gets challenging, you're tired. So what? Like, your wife, or you're the mom of your kids, they're also tired.
Mhm.
Suck it up, bro. Like, this is, like, you know how this happened, right? Like, you know how you got here. You got to deal with it. Like, that's always been my thing. And so anytime I see a dad specifically, and I guess a dad slash husband, I'll say that is not willing to help
Mhm.
with the kids, that's not willing to help, especially like if the mom is like struggling to juggle all this stuff,
Mhm.
if she's trying to get them ready for bed or bath time,
Yeah.
or like at dinner, right? And it's not helping at all. If the person is just lazy and a lazy dad, I have such an issue with it, because,
Yeah.
like, man, what are you doing? Like,
Right.
what are you doing? Like,
Mhm.
I just don't understand the mentality behind that. I get everybody. Here's the thing: everybody gets tired. Deb, are you tired today?
Yeah. And I don't have kids.
Yeah, I'm tired. I have kids. Everybody gets tired. Like, it's not really an excuse. There might be situations out there where, the rules and the breakdown of like their, tasks and duties and stuff like that are different. But man, anytime I see a lazy dad, it just drives me nuts. Or one that, and Travis Cole and I talked about this last year on Father's Day, when we see like dads on their cell phones at a park, when they could be playing with their kids. Like, the
Yeah.
thing that I think people don't realize sometimes is that you don't understand this in the moment, but like, your time with your kids at that age is so short, and it
Mhm.
goes by so quickly, and you are wasting it looking at your phone or watching TV instead of taking that time. And everybody needs their break. I get that. But like,
Yeah.
when you should be present with your family and your kids and they're not, I'm like, I don't, you're missing it. And this is going to come back at you later down the road. You are going to regret these moments because you missed it. And I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means, but like, I'll say this. This might sound arrogant. I'm 100% confident in saying this, though. You can ask anybody that knows me. You can go ask Rachel. You can text Rachel right now if you want. That has not been the case for me, because I refuse to do it.
Dude,
I was gonna say, I thought.
text her now. Excuse me, Rachel. Josh is claiming. Can you confirm? I'm
Can
just
you?
kidding.
She's like, what is he talking about? Absolutely not. He's the laziest person I know. Like, hey, just have her hop in. But no, I don't like it. I just don't like it. And again, at the end of the day, it's not my business, not my family. All I can do is handle my own family, spend time with my own kids. But seeing it bums. I'll say this: it doesn't make me mad. It bums me out. I'm like, man, I think you're missing an opportunity. And I've seen it a lot. And but on the flip side, I've seen a lot of amazing, amazing dads, especially since becoming a dad,
Yeah.
guys that put in a ton of work and then come home and spend time with their families and put a lot of time and energy
Yeah.
into their families. And so, shout out to all you guys.
Well, yeah. Well, can I say I don't, let me know
Oh,
if
please, I'm done. I
no,
said what I need to say.
no. I just said kudos. I need to give you a kudos because I saw you guys in action when you were showing me how to like set up Not Here to Judge, and you trained me for a solid, like, what was that, 3 hours that day I came over to your guys' house. Do you remember?
I don't think it was that long, but yeah,
I
yeah, I
swear
know
it
what you're
was
saying.
like 3 hours. Maybe it was
Yeah,
an hour and a half. I don't
it felt
know.
like this. Like, oh my
Well,
gosh.
because it was so much. So yeah, it was, you and Rachel were there and your kids were there. And you were showing me in that podcast room how to do something. And Rachel, I think Zoe or someone, one of them was like having, a moment. And
Okay, sure.
I remember Rachel came in and she looks at you and she's like, your turn. And
Yeah,
I think, and just if you hit pause, like a pause button on that, it could have gone in a situation where you're like, no, like, I'm working, can't you take care of it? And I'm not saying you would say that, but I'm picturing someone
or
doing that.
yeah, I wouldn't.
Like, you take,
100%.
like,
Yeah,
can you take care of that? Like, I'm busy, but you got up and you told me, you're like, I'll be right back. And you went and like, you helped her. You know what I'm saying? So like, it
yeah.
just, one of those things, like, I saw you guys in action. You guys had good teamwork. I thought that was great because
Well,
it's
thank you.
like, right, because it's one of those things where it does take the both of you, especially if you guys have been doing that this whole time, obviously. So to do that, I'm just in my head, I'm like, not that Josh would do this, but he could have easily. And I'm glad that Rachel went in and like asked for, said, hey, your turn, like, you're up, you're next,
Yeah,
help
right.
me, or whatever. But it was good because I'm like, dang, like someone could have easily been like, like, too bad, like, you go, you're the mom or you're the woman or whatever, or you go do that. Because I've
It
heard,
happens.
seen other situations like that in the past, if that makes sense. And like, just that whole, like, you take care of that, I'm busy. But the fact that you guys like you went to go help. So anyway, that's an example I thought of when you said like the lazy dads. And I'm like, so anyway, so there you go. I don't need her confirmation because I saw it. So you're
perfect. Good.
yeah.
Thank God. Cause you would no, Rachel would have said something very different. No, I appreciate that. No, it's just something I've always, again, I take a lot of that work ethic and that mentality from my mom, where it's like, you don't wait around until something needs. I mean, I think you have the same mentality. You don't wait around until you're asked to do something, or it's like, oh, I guess I have to do something. Because no, you jump in. If you see a need, you jump in and you handle it. And especially these are, like I said, these are my kids. Again, I can't emphasize it enough. It's like some of these dudes, I'm like, did you forget the process it took to get here? Like, you were part of that. As far as you're told, maybe not. Maybe there's a secret that you're going to find out years down the road that, paternity test comes out. It's like, wait a minute, I've been taking care of this kid. This is not mine. But, I mean, it's like you were part of this process. And so part of that process is helping, in any way that, manifests itself, whether it's, like I said, bath time, dinner time, whatever it may be. And so anytime I see, a guy that's just not engaged, and not only not engaged, but then not willing to help. And again, I understand there might be situations where they may, like a couple may have a very clear line drawn. It's like, I do this, you do that. And if that's you, cool. There's no judgment here. I'm not talking to you. And if you think I'm talking about you, I probably am. Because
then that's that.
Yeah. I mean, if you fall into the categories that I'm talking about, then yeah, I'm talking about you. Sorry, bro. Right. So I just have a tough time with that. It's like, I just think, it's your job, it's your responsibility. And I think that's one of those things that your kids are going to look back. I mean, not this is a parenting episode, but like, I know I can give specific examples of stuff that my mom or dad did for us. That's huge. Looking back now, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that. And I'm sure the same for you. Like, you could look back and think, oh, I remember this or that. And you just have a different appreciation now that you have your own adult responsibilities. And so, those small moments, I think your kids are going to look back at and appreciate, or they're not going to have those memories because you were, again, on your phone or watching TV. It's like, you're missing out. But again, it's not my problem. You got to deal with that.
Anyway, I won't say anymore. I'll tell you, I'll rant to you off air about what I think of millennial parents.
All right.
I'm not a parent, so I don't want to say too much. But anyway, I see more good than bad.
It's like sometimes you forget this is not here to judge. Like, you can say whatever you want here. You are free here.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you are. Say whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah. We could go on and on, I swear, about this is episode. I swear we could probably pull a Joe Rogan and talk for like 5 hours. But
have I told you this? At some point I think I want to try that. Like, we should try maybe for 100th episode.
For 100th? What are we on?
82.
There. Yeah.
That's actually not bad. Okay, we'll go in person 3 hours. Easily. Okay.
When have we ever like had a lull and we're like, well, okay, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's always like, well, we better wrap it up. We better stop talking. Like,
that's always
we both looking at the time. We're both like trying to be conscious of each other's time and listeners' time too.
Yeah, they've already checked out. They didn't even hear my dad rant. They've been gone for a while.
I personally like long podcasts. I don't mind because I listen on my commute in my car when I'm taking a shower. Like, I don't mind picking up where I left off because you can pause it whenever. You don't have to listen to the whole thing in one sitting.
Right. Exactly.
So I don't mind the long podcast, but yeah, we should totally do that.
Let's talk more about that, because we got to do something a little different for 100. So, well, we have more pet peeves that we didn't get to, but we'll keep that for next time. This has been
part 3.
Part 2. Part 3 is coming. So, Deb, where can they follow us?
You guys can follow us on Instagram at Connectable Podcast, Twitter at Connectable Pod, and then of course we're on YouTube. If you're watching us right now, Connectable Podcast, and Facebook. Yep.
And then where can they follow Not Here to Judge?
Oh, thank you. Not Here to I'm on Instagram at Not Here to Judge Podcast. And that's it. That's my only form of getting a hold of me. I've taken a brief hiatus, partly, and I do need to talk to you about this when we log off, partly because I hit when I had COVID and I was trying to edit some things and get some things done. I was trying to edit an episode that I recorded with Crystal, and Crystal sent it to me.
Okay.
And I plugged it in GarageBand, but part of the outro audio was totally quiet and the rest was loud. And I was trying everything. And anyway, it was one of those, I'm going to chuck my laptop off my balcony moment. So I had to it. And I haven't been back to it since. So I haven't posted in a few weeks. I do have a couple episodes in my bank though. So I need to get that rolling. But so I'll start posting again soon and booking some guests. But I think I have 6 or 7 episodes on there now to listen to.
Really good too. Obviously we've talked, it's for anybody and everybody who wants to listen, but it is definitely more for a female audience for sure. I think a female audience is probably going to gain the most from it. So definitely check that out. And just a selfish plug on my end, this is not a Connectable podcast, but Home Team Sacramento, that's my other podcast. So Deb was kind enough to join me a few episodes ago, so she's on there. And that one's for coaches and athletes, especially at the high school level, with my friend Kevin Bracey, who's been on this show quite a while ago. So yeah, if you're a coach or an athlete or a parent who has a coach or is married to an athlete, or no, I flip that, has an athlete married to a coach. Hopefully it's not the other way around, unless you're at high school.
I just thought of that.
Whoops. Yeah, definitely check that out. Home Team Sac on all podcast platforms and everywhere else. So yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Cool. All right. We will see you guys next week. See ya.
See ya.
Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable podcast.